Hi everyone, this is Balázs from RacingBrick. Today I have the latest Batmobile with me. This is the 76328 Batman, the Classic TV Series Batmobile. Wow, another overcomplicated name for a car. The black background of the 18 Plus set fits the theme. The subtle glow definitely helps to recognize a few details. The back of the box is similar, black on black with some red accents. There's a photo of the original, some details, a very lonely Batman, even more details and the dimensions. Let's open the box. The set has 1822 pieces. The price is a quite surprising 150 euros or dollars, and it will be available from the 1st of October, but you can pre-order it now on lego.com. You can find the link below. Inside you will find 17 numbered paper bags, 2 unnumbered plastic ones with more pieces, 4 small paper bags, 4 tires and the envelope with the instructions. We get 2 sticker sheets. Apparently only Star Wars says deserve the printed UCS plugs. Here it will be a sticker. The manual begins with a short introduction to the classic Batman series. We see the Batmobile with Batman and Robin in it. On the next few pages there are more details about the various gadgets included in the car. Then even more, a bunch of fun facts about the Batmobile. It was originally the Lincoln Futura concept car. And that's it. Here's the parts list if you're interested. Now let's start building. We'll begin with one of the axles. At first I thought that this setup with the round 1x1 tiles could become a very basic differential where the two axles could also turn together, but apparently there's not enough friction between the tiles. We are building a studied Technic frame, and I was quite surprised that such a large plate is used for the chassis. This car won't be small at all. Apparently the other axle is the same as the first one, which means that unfortunately we won't get a working steering system. Too bad. Phase 2 is mainly about simple part stacking, nothing special. I also had to put the first 2 stickers on here. The next phase was even less exciting because I had to add tons of those black slope pieces. This is the first knot block that requires some attention besides basic part stacking. Here's the end of the car with some other interesting techniques used. This tricky assembly is the mobile crime computer, but I had to look it up because unfortunately the instructions lack the additional information you can find in some other 18 Plus sets. Oh, okay, I should have waited one more step with my complaints. The computer is labeled. Still, some extra information in the manual is always welcome. Apparently I'm like Batman, everything has to be labeled correctly, otherwise I forget where and what things are. Here's an assembly that needs to be attached upside down, and we used even more clips here on this end. With a few extra pieces, this section gets a pretty smooth finish. The light apparently requires a few tricky solutions too, and we've also added the famous red phone and the pedals. Again, these aren't the most exciting steps, a lot of simple bricks were used, and I also added the red wheel arches. Here is a quite unusual solution because the bracket you see there just sits on the tiles underneath, there's nothing attached, not sure how visible it is. For reinforcement, a solid studied Technic structure has to be added on both sides. Here is an item that has no label, but we can probably recognize it without one. The seats have some interesting techniques and unusual parts used, and then we attach the other section from the opposite direction, pretty cool. The dashboard has a lot of gadgets and instruments, including the non-functional steering wheel. There are some big empty spaces back here behind the seats. Another innovative part usage to have these angled, transparent pieces here. This is what our build looks like at the end of Back 12, a massive black block with some red accents. We added lots of tiles and slopes to smooth out the surface. More labels for more gadgets, then a whole series of hinged elements on the sides, and now it's time to hide the mobile crime computer. The cockpit area now has a lot more detail, and we can open the remaining mystery bags, which are the 4 brand new windshield pieces. Nicely packaged, that's a good move by LEGO. We have 2 different sizes, and this is how they are mounted. Now we need to attach these massive fins to the hinges and then align them correctly. The hood is finished when the middle part is in place. We added these pulleys to simulate the brakes, and then we have these old school rims, need to mount the tires and get everything in place. The hubcaps have printed tiles, those are the first printed elements in this set I think. The front section is completed from below with a few different elements. A license plate is added at the back, then a rim from the Mustang, but we don't really see the details. I add this cover for the seal area on the car, then the antenna on the rear, and that's about it. There's a stand for the Batman minifigure, the giant sticker for the plug, and we are done. So here is our Batmobile in all its glory, and it is huge. 50 centimeters long, which is more than 19 inches. Unfortunately, I don't have the other Batman vehicles in large scale anymore, but the Tumbler was about 40 centimeters long, the 1989 Batmobile was 60 centimeters, so very comparable. I can put some Creator Expert and icon sets next to it though, then you can see the scale and size difference. The Ecto one is a very good basis for comparison for several reasons, which I will come back to in a moment. Here's the minifigure scale version next to it, that's the set number 76188, they look great together. Let's take a closer look at the minifigure. Honestly, I can't tell you if it's a new print or not, the pieces have a new ID in the inventory. But here comes the first problem of the set, Batman is alone. Even the smaller Batmobile had two minifigures, although we got Joker instead of Robin, but a big set like this really deserved to get Robin. The Classic TV Series version of Robin was only available in the 2016 Batcave if I'm not mistaken, so I'm really not sure why we couldn't get a new edition, that's a real shame. Now to the features. I have to rely a bit on the official set description because it is pretty funny. So, we have molded windshield, yes, that's right, those are new parts, and then rotatable wheels. At first I thought it was going to be functional steering, but as we saw during the build, it's not implemented. So, LEGO's marketing department thought it would be a great idea to emphasize that a car has rotating wheels. But even better, they forgot to mention that they turn in both directions. Wow! Apart from that and the authentic decorations, which means a huge amount of stickers, we have the opening trunk with the Batcomputer. And that's about it. Seriously, this is the classic Batmobile that should be filled to the brim with various gadgets, but none of them work. We got a lot of stickers pointing out the gizmos, but that's it. For me, this is another big disappointment. I mean, look at the Ecto one and its ingenious functions, how cool is that? And that. And even that. I mean, if we compare the scale, the Ecto one is actually smaller and still has tons of cool functions. The Batmobile on the other hand is a huge empty black box. A fairly good looking black box by the way that captures the lines of the classic Batmobile pretty well. There are a few places you can criticize, like the flat wheel arches or the thick jagged red accent on the wings, the pretty thick grey frame of the windshield, but I think the overall look is good. But for me, the lack of functions is a real deal breaker on this car. Let's talk about the price. 150 euros or dollars for 1822 pieces, that's surprisingly low. The Ecto one costs $240, the DeLorean with almost the same piece count is $200, and for that price we only get the much smaller Corvette. And don't forget that this is the RRP, I've seen pre-orders for the set at 125 euros. So in terms of size and piece count, it seems like a pretty good deal, but is it also a good deal when it comes to the build itself? There are some interesting sections and the final look is fine, but there's also a lot of simple brick stacking and repetition. Also, there is only one minifigure and no functions, a very minimal amount of printed elements and lots of stickers. So, this set is really a mixed bag. If you want a big display piece that you will put on the shelf and never touch again, and if you like the look of it, then it's fine. If, like me, you are expecting some functionality from a LEGO car of this size, you may be disappointed. Anyway, let me know your thoughts folks, what you think of the set, the minifigure, the lack of functions and the price. Let's talk about it in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video then please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe with notifications because there are more exciting LEGO videos coming soon. See you next time, bye bye.